Hi, I'm Arlie Sterling. I'm the president of Marsoft Inc. CMA Shipping brings together the entire industry, from the finance to the owners to the suppliers to the technical managers and commercial managers. It's a great place to meet people, make good connections, and do a little business. I think the industry will meet the goals of decarbonization. I think it's going to be a requirement that they do. Whether or not everyone is able to survive the large investments necessary to achieve that, that's another story to be told. It's a very expensive business. These are unfunded mandates, and we don't really know how to make sure that we're going to get to those goals. But yes, I'm certain we will. I mean, the main challenge is that most shippers don't want to pay for reducing emissions. The charters are in an intensely competitive game, and their only measure of success typically is that they're what they pay for the ship, not how much CO2 is emitted. That has to change. The charters have to become more sensitive and weigh the cost of CO2 in their chartering decisions. When that happens, when they start doing long-term charters that are sufficiently to compensate for the investments required to reduce CO2 emissions, the industry will be on a path to reduce itself. Right now, the charters are the key in that step. Sure, there are two layers of cost involved. The industry is going to regulate certain standards. If a ship or a ship owner fails to meet those standards, the ship cannot trade. That'll be a binary decision, and owners will respond specifically to that. The other level of compliance is what the charterers are prepared to pay for. And when charters are prepared to pay for not only the movement of the cargo from A to B, but doing so in a way that has minimized the CO2 emissions, then they will proceed, and then they'll make the investments necessary to deliver the shipping services that the ship owners provide.
To access that money?
You know, I think the shipping industry and ship finance in particular is at the lead in identifying paths to decarbonization. The ship finance industry has taken key steps forward with the Poseidon Principles, public reporting of their carbon footprint, and they're making lending decisions based on carbon emissions already. So this is a very potent force. What we heard earlier today was a discussion about green finance, the public markets for bonds that are labeled green. I think there was a sense that they could offer a less expensive financing alternative for owners that could demonstrate that they are meeting higher than usual standards. I'm not sure the financial argument there is really compelling yet. I think that the green discount that you get is still relatively small. I think what is another new avenue for ship owners is the carbon market, particularly the voluntary carbon market. That's where my company, Marsoft, has been spending a great deal of time finding a way to open the door to the carbon credits market to allow ship owners to issue carbon credits on the basis of the emissions reductions they achieve with their investments, and then sell those carbon credits into the voluntary market and thus fund the investments, help to fund the investments. Carbon trading is taking off. It's really exploding from an investor perspective. Certainly trading in regulatory regimes like the ETS in California, that is a rapidly growing market. The market that we think is particularly interesting to provide new funding for ship owners is the voluntary carbon credit market. Voluntary carbon credit market is the market that companies that have decided to reduce their emissions below the regulatory requirements, they can go to that market and acquire carbon credits, emissions reductions that were obtained in other industries, like shipping. That market is only recently now, in fact, we've made our breakthrough literally this week that is going to start things moving forward at a much more rapid pace. That market is perceived by the United Nations and by others as vital to the success and decarbonization of the global economy. It's not just shipping, many other segments of the industry. It's supposed to grow from $300 million 2 years ago to $30 billion by the end of the decade, excuse me. And so that kind of growth is going to be a tremendous opportunity for shipping to take advantage of the opportunities for funding that will emerge there. As long as shipping can satisfy the very demanding standards of the voluntary carbon credit market.